The Crusades, a series of bloody religious wars fought in the name of Christianity, saw knights and nobles plundering and slaughtering in the Holy Land, revealing the violent and hypocritical nature of medieval piety. The Spanish Inquisition, a ruthless campaign to root out heresy and dissent, turned neighbor against neighbor, fostering an atmosphere of suspicion and fear that stifled intellectual inquiry and cultural diversity. The Opium Wars waged by Western powers against China in the 19th century were fueled by greed and addiction, as British merchants flooded the country with opium to maintain their trade advantage, leading to widespread suffering and social decay. The scramble for Africa, a ruthless competition among European powers for colonial territory, carved up the continent like a butcher's slab, disregarding indigenous rights and sovereignty in a frenzy of exploitation and brutality. The Atlantic slave trade, a grotesque chapter in human history, treated human beings as chattel to be bought, sold, and abused, fueling the economic engines of the Western world with the blood and tears of millions. The Holocaust, a dark stain on humanity's conscience, exposed the depths of human depravity and the banality of evils as ordinary people turned a blind eye to the systematic extermination of millions based on race and ethnicity. The Gulag system in Soviet Russia, a vast network of forced labor camps, imprisoned millions in a hellish landscape of despair and suffering as the communist regime crushed dissent and eradicated opposition with ruthless efficiency. The Cultural Revolution in Maoist China, a descent into madness and chaos, unleashed a frenzy of violence and destruction as Red Guard zealously purged society of perceived enemies, tearing families apart and leaving a scar on the nation's psyche that still lingers. The Rwandan genocide, a grotesque orgy of ethnic violence, laid bare the dark heart of humanity as neighbor turned against neighbor in a frenzy of bloodlust and hatred, while the world stood by and watched in shameful silence. The rise of digital surveillance and authoritarianism in the 21st century, enabled by technology and fueled by fear, threatens to turn the dream of a free and open society into a nightmare of oppression and control, as governments and corporations pry ever deeper into our lives in the name of security and stability.